coming in. This is Rock and Roll Medicine. I'm here with Kyle Pfeiffer from Blacklite District. How you doing today, Kyle?
I am doing good, Denny. Just enjoying my Friday, man. Thank you for having me on today.
Where are you located at?
I'm actually in the Black Hills of South Dakota, so I don't know if you've heard of like Sturgis. Um, I'm about like 10 miles from Sturgis. Another week or two, I think we'll probably have 500,000 motorcycles rolling through here. So, yeah,
Yeah, no kidding. It'll be a little busy around your neighborhood.
it's so funny because on the high years, like big years, they'll have 1 million people come into town, and then for 10 days, but the entire rest of the year is a ghost town, a town of like 5,000 people. So it's pretty wild, man.
I've heard it that the most of the economy for the town or that area is that weekend, right, or that week, and then the rest of the year it's like nothing.
Literally. Yep, yep. And even on the main street, like in downtown, which is kind of where they shut the couple main streets off, all the bikes are parked out there. But a lot of the like storefronts, that you would imagine are permanently there, they're actually only open for those 10 days. And then many of them be shut down the entire year. And some people even have to move out just for that week. So they get crazy, but it's kind of like aside from the scenery and Mount Rushmore and things like that, it's kind of our claim to fame up here a bit.
Oh, nice. So, as far as music goes, are you playing it at there anywhere around there during that time?
Nope, not this year. I did have a few offers this year. So there's the biggest place in Sturgis is a place called the Buffalo Chip. I've seen, like I saw my first concert there, ZZ Top. I saw Motley Crue, Ozzy, stuff like that over the years. So I've been fortunate. One of my dreams as a kid was to play that main stage. I've done it twice now. Would have done 3 times. I had a broken hip. Then last year I played a place called the Iron Horse. But yeah, it's just cool, man. Because again, being like a 13-year-old kid back in the day, growing up, seeing Sturgis, seeing all the shows, just being inspired and thinking in my head, man, one day I hope that can be me. It's pretty, I guess, fulfilling to, think all those years later I actually got to be on that stage. But yeah.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about Blacklight District.
So, Blacklight District is just about to break $1 million in streaming revenue and pass our first billion streams, which I'm completely blown away by. About 10 years ago, we had our first hit, a song called With Me Now, which started getting some serious traction on Octane on Sirius XM, big hard rock channel on there. At the time, it was selling about 2,000 downloads a week, which right before streaming became a thing, was kind of the way to go in terms of downloads. So I had a nice, 6-week run at #1 on Octane, 6 months in the top 10, couple of tours that first year. And then there was kind of a big falling out between me and my manager and the label and money and just the real dark, nasty part of the business. People get greedy. So I essentially had to start over from scratch after having that first hit. And long story short, I basically had no budget, no money. You know how it is in the business. Oh, you got to promote this or this and that, blah, blah. So I was like, man, how can I get this music in front of a mass amount of people if I have not a penny to spend on it? So one day I go on YouTube, I typed in that song I was talking about, that hit from Octane, and I saw this anime video on YouTube for that song, and it had 1 million views on it. And in my mind, it was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. So because the song itself had 1 million views, but that was the only one I had, that got to that level. I reached out to the guy whose channel it was. He was like, man, we should just partner up. I always need music that doesn't get copyright claims. You need a platform. So we did a couple of those. I started seeing these Minecraft videos a few months later, 10, 20 million views. Again, short story, reached out to the next guy, and here we are, like literally 500 million views on these Minecraft videos in like 6 years. Completely changed everything about my career, though, man. Like, compared to going to radio or doing kind of these traditional things, I have this real young audience who discovers me through these video games and become hardcore fans. And I don't mean to blab on and on here. There's just kind of so much in there. It's crazy.
It's crazy that it's a different avenue. It's not your normal avenue, right? You totally take a left turn, I would say. You know,
Yeah, it's the total outside the box way of what you, and believe me, so many industry guys, whether it was managers, radio guys, whoever it was, at first would say, man, so what if you got 10 million views on there? It's a bunch of nerds and kids. It doesn't mean anything. I was always like, all right, I guess. But as time has gone on, to see these kids who will have their parents drive them 10 hours to come to one of my shows on a school night. And even if I only have 50 kids there, they know every word to every song. I mean, I just feel so grateful for it. You know what I'm saying? It's a bit different. And it took me a while to be like, oh, because I'm assuming you're a rock and roll guy, you know, fellow rock and roll man. And so at first it was almost like, man, do I really want to be known as like this video game guy with these anime characters for kids? And, you know, it's kind of hard to grasp it. But after you see all that support and how much noise they made in terms of launching my career, those are my nerds now. You know what I'm saying? So all in good fun. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it is you can't be a good thing. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, um, but you have to find your niche. You know, and if you don't find that niche, you're not going in. Because I was kind of like looking at YouTube, and because when I seen that you had a million views on this, and then all these millions of views, I'm like, okay, so YouTube doesn't seem to follow that pattern yet, if I'm right.
Well, it depends. I mean, I think we have over 10 videos that have at least a million. Some are up to 5 million. There's just so many. Yeah. Well, there's one from like 2021. Got to get out of here is at 1.5 million. Falling from 2020 is about 2.5 million. What are we at here? The video that just came out is about 130K or so. I tried today. So, yeah, and that's the other thing too. I never claimed that it's a first week mass thing, but what I will tell you is that the streams will stay consistent forever, if that makes sense. So even if it's not like getting a million a day, if it gets 1,000 a day, it'll just stay there. So even if it takes 2 or 3 years, they typically get there. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's all about the perspective. How do I look at it? Is it a failure because it didn't get a million the first week? Or is it a crazy success that it got a million views slowly over 8 months by these kids organically finding it?
Well, I would hope that it would be slower, just as a for personal, because you could be gone in 15 minutes if it's like that, right? You're there, you trend, okay, you're done. Um, but
Which is kind of what I thought was going to happen here because early on they would literally be trending on YouTube, you know, number 7 on trending. And it'd be like, holy shit, there's not one rock song here. And I kept thinking, man, this has got to be just kind of a quick, but here we are, man, like 7 years
yeah,
later.
it's definitely YouTube's and even the others. There are different algorithms and all kinds of keywords and this and that, and nobody seemed to dial it. And I mean, people touch on it, I think, and they speculate and
Yeah.
this and that because I watch so many damn videos that I'm like, okay, how do you do this and how do you do that? And everybody has a different way of saying growing their
Yep.
channels and this and that. And I think it's I don't want to say luck, but it's kind of luck.
It's got to be some of that in there. I mean, I always think that if you're working hard, obviously that has to be a thing, but there's going to be a bit of luck with that too. There has to be in some way,
And
you know?
I don't know how much you flood the market, but I think that some people say it helps, some people say it don't. I'm like, okay, you put out a video every couple weeks, maybe. I know my
Yeah.
industry is a little bit different than your industry, where I'm doing interviews and I'm like, do I put them out every 2 days? Do I put them out daily? Do I put
Right.
them out weekly? Do I put out? And then I watch other ones, some YouTubers, and the ones that are really high in subscribers and this and that, they do maybe one a week, maybe,
Yeah.
and while other people
Yep.
are putting in more. So I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what the deal is, but
You know what's funny? You say that though. It's almost similar in the Minecraft world where, like, the guy who makes my Minecraft videos, he only puts out a video like every 3 months because it takes him so long to edit. And you'll see some people on there saying, "Oh, why does it take so long?" But he gets so much more engagement than the channels that are just putting out kind of half-ass stuff more frequently. You know what I'm saying?
There's another one that I watch. He does the same thing. He does more movies though.
Okay.
He's just reacting to a full movie, but he breaks it down to like 6 hours. It's like
Shit.
I don't have 6 hours to
Yeah.
do this. I don't have the patience for that.
No, for sure.
But so did you like only start with singles then, and then you're not putting out albums whatsoever?
I am putting out albums. There was a phase early on where there was probably a good 2 year period, kind of when all this YouTube stuff was starting for me to kind of take off, where it was like you said, it was basically a new song and a video virtually every month or so, maybe a month every 6 weeks. I had the song called "Cold as Ice," not to be confused with "Foreigner," and it was kind of just another song in the line of monthly, monthly. And for some reason, this song just happened to do a bit better out of the gate, where the views were a bit higher, the engagement was a bit more. And that's kind of how we led into the Minecraft stuff. And what I noticed, man, was that on the come up, so to speak, like trying to get that engagement, it was better to have more releases coming out to kind of stay, I don't know, at the top of the page, so to speak, or kind of in the news. But I also,
Like relevant?
exactly, exactly. But then I also kind of noticed where, as I kind of got these super fans now that'll drive to come see me, that will go back and find songs I made in high school that I have no clue you know what I'm saying? Just the craziest stuff. So now it is almost more like the album and the project, but I feel like it's more about where you're at and what you're trying to do that fits into your kind of avenue. There's literally no right or wrong way on any of the stuff we're talking about. It's just what works for you or the platform, so to speak.
Right, because I would imagine, you're coming from the same background as I'm coming from. I'm thinking, you're thinking you're gonna make an album, you're gonna put out a song, do a video, go on tour, blah blah
Yep,
blah.
absolutely.
And like I said, it takes a little left turn, but it's working for you, and how it's working for you is amazing. I don't know of anybody else that, and I'm sure there are
Yep.
others. I don't know what's in that sphere. Have you noticed any others as
I
well?
see one or two other ones that the channel I specifically work with has started working with. Not a ton, but I will tell you that I've had a lot of labels and management teams over the last couple years. Even like Puddle of Mud, for example, their team would hit me up and say, "Hey, can we hire you to maybe get us into some of this anime stuff?" So not just Minecraft, but anime, just these kind of they just call it anime. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of it as we go forward. And I even think the thing, Denny, for even platforms like this, like doing an interview, I even think there's going to be new ways of doing that in some way. I don't know exactly what that would be. Maybe it's different release. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. There's just no right or wrong way today. So
Well, I've been trying to do something like video like this since 2000. I want to say four
oh
or
wow,
five, right? And when I was in radio, and I'm like, I want to do radio, more
yeah,
interviews. I initially want to do face to face. That's a little harder when you getting
yeah,
people together, right? So then I said, okay, I'm gonna go on tour and do it, and that worked a little bit, right? Because I have the camera, but being a one man show,
yeah,
a little difficult.
for sure.
Um, and then, I mean, this came along, and I'm like, man, well, I should have been doing this a lot earlier, but I didn't have the time, and I didn't have, I didn't even know
Right.
what I was doing, to be honest with you.
Well, and that's the thing. People think it's so simple. We sit here and have this talk, but they don't realize all the other work that goes into putting this all
And I don't know anybody who does this as well, so I didn't have anybody to say, hey, tap on the shoulder,
right.
you know,
So you kind of
can
had
you
to
help me, or
find
do you
your own
know?
way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm kind of still learning as I go along, and
How long
it's
you been?
amazing me the different avenues, because I do think you're right. I think this anime is gonna take off. I mean, it just is. It already has, I should say. Um, but yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I would agree wholeheartedly. Um, a long time.
Going now.
Yeah, yeah, a long time. But I was all things metal for a long time, and then I decided when I went to video, I decided to change it, kind of reach out a little bit more.
Yep.
rather than just doing like
For
metal stuff. I want to do like rock stuff and this and that stuff and kind of branch out. So um, it just kind of goes that way, you know. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna do this, and you know, this is kind of what I do until something else, I suppose.
And there may be tons of other artists doing this that I'm not knowing about. I'm sure there are. So where are you at then?
In Kansas City.
Oh, okay. I'm actually I'm going to be playing down there in September, I think.
So where are you playing at?
Let me see. I think we're doing it is September 8th. That's a Sunday. But if you want to come out, man, you're more than welcome. On this specific tour, it's called the Red Carpet Tour. We did a leg in May, and we're doing another one in September. So I've had about a decade of touring on the road, playing clubs, doing the whole thing. Kind of going back to when I said like the audience switched to these kids who are now coming to the shows. I basically went back to the drawing board. I started renting like American Legion halls, doing my own show, like from the ground up in terms of production, sound. We make like private VIP areas. So I'm doing basically all American Legion halls right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do you have to insure it the way that the clubs insure their stuff and
A
everything?
little differently. They have kind of their own way, so it's definitely not as complicated as a normal. Typically, they're a hall. They're just waiting for someone to call, say, "Hey, can we rent this out?" Typically, we'll have to hire security. But yeah, we have like insurance and all that stuff. I guess I don't deal with a lot of that, but yeah, we have it all worked out. But it's a little different. Everything's on us now. Where we can't go in and say, "Hey, where do we do this?" It's like this is your thing. You set it up. Yeah.
So, do you feel a lot more pressure? Do you feel a lot more control?
I think the control for sure. The pressure is definitely there because we want to deliver. A lot of these kids, it's their first concert, so they don't really know what to expect. And there again, man. I mean, I just turned 34, so when I can look out and see like a 14-year-old, 20 years younger than me, that sings every word to the song, it still blows my mind. Um, and I'm just always thinking, if this is their first concert, is this awesome? And I guess what we're kind of learning is that the show itself is almost or excuse me, the meet and greet after the show, the kind of VIP red carpet meet and greet, that almost seems just as important as the show itself. So you'll have people there watching the show, and then they'll stand in line for 2 more hours just waiting for 5 minutes to take the picture and say hi. And to me, that's like the ultimate victory. You know what I'm saying? Because the music's actually connecting. It's still to see a line of people outside. I'm still convinced it's not for me because I've been on the other side of that so many times. So
You
it's
look
like,
around going, there's got to be somebody around here who's bigger than me.
believe me, I've done the shows with nobody there over and over and over. So if I get 50 kids, that it makes me happy, man. Really.
As far as I'm looking, and the last thing is it Dying for You is your latest one?
Yeah, well, I think it's on YouTube. We pretty much put the whole album out, so there's probably 10 songs that kind of
Okay,
just came
yeah,
out.
because they all say like 2 months. I was listening
Yeah,
to it, Drunk Man Blues got a little that I don't want to say touch the nerve, but it tickles me. It makes me laugh for
oh
sure.
no, for sure. And that was one of the first songs my guitar player Justin, he wrote the lyrics. Typically, I do all of that in terms of production. This was kind of his thing. It related to me and some of my past. You know what I'm saying? And him as well. But no, I definitely get what you mean. There was actually considering of not putting that on the album for a bit, but
I think it's just because we can relate,
absolutely,
right? I mean, I think if you've been
yeah,
there, you've been
for
there.
sure. And I'm sure we
so,
both have. You know what I'm saying?
so so what's the main thing you write about? Do you write about anything that comes to mind, or is it more set on, okay, I'm gonna
I
do
try to
this?
just let it be natural. When I was 10 years old, my mom passed away from a heroin overdose. And then, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, my father died via suicide. So those things, especially my mom, tend to be, at least early on, were more of that's what comes out. It's like following that. I try not to just stay on the negative path, but I also try to turn it into something positive in a way. That's why actually this album you're referring to, I just put out an album on May 3rd called You Can Do Better, which is where these songs we're referring to. And I released it on May 3rd, which was actually the 25-year anniversary of my mom's death. And to me, I don't know, something in it just made me feel like really complete. And I've been feeling better, honestly, man. I mean, it might be the antidepressants too, but since that album came out, man, I'm feeling good.
Right. So do you do like since your mom and your dad passed away differently and tragically, do you do any like suicide prevention or you
Well,
know heroin prevention stuff like that,
so
or is
I ended
it
up getting
let it
addicted to
be?
fentanyl a couple of years ago, which is also an opiate very similar to heroin, but much stronger. Yeah, yeah, very much. So about a year, I mean, I got to the point where I was doing about 40 pills a day. I mean, basically, at the time, I was going through one of my first kind of pop success songs where I was getting this other format. I started making some okay money. And it was the first time where it wasn't, oh, I'm feeling sorry for myself. Let's party. It was like, holy shit, like we're doing it. Let's like enjoy and have some fun. But then I was sitting there looking at my 8-year-old son, and it just felt like the roles were completely reversed. Where I remembered being that kid, and the mom was always leaving, and how it ended up. And it was like, yeah, man. So I went to rehab. I'm 3.5 years sober off the fentanyl now. But when I first came out of treatment, I did a lot of interviews and press. Did a nice article with Psychology Today about this. So I'm very open with that, and a lot of the fans seem to appreciate that. Just to, you feel less alone. I mean, I don't know your story, but it makes it sound like we probably related a little bit. But you know how it is. I mean, if someone's coming off something, or you can kind of feel, I don't know. That's how I take it.
Yeah, yeah,
So.
no, I totally get it. So what's next for you guys?
So what's next is we just announced the next leg of this red carpet tour I was talking about. We're kicking off in September, hitting a lot of markets on this specific tour for the first time. I know we got Dallas, Houston, Des Moines, Omaha. And yeah, really the focus for the rest of the year is just getting the show out there, growing the show. We're going to have some really cool premium collectible merch stuff dropping. And at this point, we've got 9 albums, 105 songs out there. And again, bro, at the end of the day, I'm just grateful to have these kids from all over the world that care so much about this music. And I'll say it again, I'd rather play in front of my 50 fans every night than 1,000 people that don't know me. Not that I like the pressure of trying to win over an audience, but I just feel like it wasn't until I actually started getting my own fans to my shows that I started seeing things a little bit differently of how the whole thing works.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean
And
that's pretty
again, Denny, if
gratifying.
you want, I know it's a Sunday. We usually play at about 6 o'clock, so the whole show's done by 8. I'm sure you and Jamie have been talking. We'd love to have you down if you want to come kick it. So, yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. That would be awesome.
You guys bring an opener, or is it just you?
Nope. On these tours, it's been just us. Occasion. So last year, typically we have a support or multiple support acts. But since we started doing the all ages red carpet tour, it's kind of been an evening with, because our show is about an hour to an hour 15, and then the meet and greet tends to go quite long. Um, and man, we've just had so many times where if it's not the right act, it almost seems as if it's a waste, because the kids are so, it's one, I guess you could call it a negative if you want. I don't really, but they're there to see their people. But I do think with the right act, we could help actually gain new fans to somebody. So I hope in the future we can definitely bring someone
Right,
out.
for sure. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. I'd love to come check out when you come by.
Yeah. No, please.
Kyle, thank you for hanging out with me. Enjoy it. I want
Anytime.
to. I'm very intrigued now. The world of
Yeah. No, I
Minecraft.
appreciate it.
The world of.
You'd be shocked, bro. Go on there. I'm sure you've been on there, but just go on YouTube, Blacklite District, Minecraft. You'll see like cold as ice. I think it's like 77 million views, which technically is a gold record right there. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, Denny, this tour is going to be our first tour on the bus. So if you come on down, come kick it with the boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good. Thank you so
Hell yeah,
much.
brother.
You have a
Hey,
good
thank you
day.
for having me.
Enjoy.
I hope to do it again.
Yeah, for
Thank you.
sure. Bye.